Cheers, Dasha. This week I was thinking, and the theme is, what are the parts of home that are necessary to make home good, but not something that we obviously notice and probably something we take for granted. Firstly, I wanted to discuss how I want to capture these objects that I often take for granted. I feel like with a phone, you can take and then they end up in your camera roll. You may look at them, remember them, or they're basically just senseless data. Secondly, a professional camera or something like that, you can do the same thing. Quick shutters, and there's so much control over which frame that you get that there's no element of the atmosphere that comes into it. It is very much kind of a more sterile exchange in this case. And I also found like video, having this moving capacity doesn't smush a world into a moment. And I think that momentary acknowledgement of the thing that I would usually take for granted is very important to the process. I chose to take all the photos with my 3DS. The camera quality is not good, but the details are not the important. It's the energy that flows through that environment. It's slow to take a picture, like we're on a loading screen to access the camera. And that kind of patience is something that is really useful. I'm gonna have some oolong tea with soy milk while we drink this. And that leads me into my first one, which is a stovetop kettle. Because the stovetop kettle has something that is better than it that currently exists, but most households that I've ever grown up in and to this day still use a stovetop kettle, I feel like that's when the object moves more into a cultural artifact than just a tool that people have. First of all, it's so loud. You heard it in the intro clip. It just screams at you when it's ready. I guess that's good because you know it's ready, but a regular kettle, you can also just figure it out and it will stop when it's time. You don't have to worry about the gas keep running. It's not necessary. You plug it in, it goes, it's quiet, it's fast, and it makes sense. Not only that, because heating up this big metal orb, the handle also gets hot, so you have to grab it with something else to pour it as well. It's not even convenient to pour versus like a plastic one on an electric tray. But there's something so warming about it. I remember the sound of the kettle from wherever in the house as my mom was making whatever tea, baking, whatever it could be at any hour of the day. Our kettle here is newer, doesn't have that classic style, but that's what even makes it funnier. Like, why did we get a new aesthetic kettle instead of an electric one? And I like that intentionality of like, this is the tool we use in this world. The next one is my kale smoothies. It's like good enough to drink, but not good enough that like I crave it. But I guess the point of like that gratitude that I'm coming from is that when I'm home, I can have really awesome quality kale and leafy greens, whereas a lot of places I've been to, leafy greens are, first of all, a different type of leafy green, and second of all, in less abundance in the traditional cooking, so it's super exciting to be able to just grab this giant, humongous bag of kale and munch on it. The next one is sushi. Specifically, the restaurant that I went to. So a couple days ago, I drove very far for my climbing class and it was canceled. No one told me. So I drove back home. I was hungry. I said, screw it. I'm gonna go to a restaurant alone. And it's just a perfectly priced sushi place that doesn't let inflation and a changing economy change its prices. I wrote something down in my notebook the other day. I wrote down, home is where you take most things for granted until you're desperate, and then home takes care of you. The next one is the moon. From my window, I can pretty much always see the moon when it is out for us to see, and it always gives me a sense of hope. And those nights when I'm in those, why am I up this late? Why am I feeling a sense of dread or hopelessness? Perhaps, and the moon is always there. And then the one that started it all would be the trees in my neighborhood. Cut to the vlog. Hello, Dasha. I think most of us can agree that suburbia tends to be generally a worser thing than other types of housing development styles. However, there's a few things about suburbia that I want to spend more time thinking about. Specifically, what are these kind of assumptive like design elements that make an area feel really pleasant? So right now, I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Is it? Girl, it's not looking as pretty from this angle. La, 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 la. So I'll go in some way. Doesn't look pretty here either. Kya is going on today. The cool thing is the expansiveness of the road, where there's trees on both sides that are blooming. So I'm turning on my DS right now to get to the camera app, and I'll hopefully take a picture, and that will be part of the activity. Oh, there we go. That's cute. New clip. Oh, someone's running. Go girl. Go guy. You got it. Run faster. When you're in the suburbs, the trees are definitely intentionally planted in particular spaces. And I wonder about the priority of nature as an intersection. I mean, the wildlife here is so beautiful, quite diverse, but also very distinct from any of the preserved natural places around this area. And the trees as well. I don't think the trees are, I don't know what type of tree they are, but the trees, oh my god, like this one really makes something, a sucky kind of copy paste of houses feel really glamorous. It's very easy to just not notice them and to take for granted how much they influence your relationship to a particular space. I mean, if the trees were gone, it would suck. But most people probably wouldn't talk about how much that would suck. But it does have this maybe subconscious goodness to them. Okay, I'm gonna focus on driving now and not holding this camera. So I'll talk to you later, probably in a couple hours when we're co-working. I still feel like the emotion that I'm trying to convey behind the act of these photos and acknowledgements are not being articulated well and transferred through this. Maybe I need to spend more time refining the idea before I present it. It's definitely meaningful to me, and I think that's the point of this. See you in 2 weeks, Dasha!